In the quiet corridors of a small, seemingly peaceful town, an unsettling series of brutal murders began to unfold, eerily imitating the heinous acts of infamous historical serial killers. The community, once a haven of tranquility, found itself gripped by a palpable fear, the kind that lurks in the shadows of the unknown. The mastermind behind these gruesome acts? A cunning and elusive killer, playing a twisted game that challenged the very limits of criminal psychology. Enter Detective Lara Hughes, a seasoned expert in criminal psychology, known for her sharp intuition and unwavering dedication to justice. Assigned to this perplexing case, she faced an adversary unlike any other, a mind that orchestrated terror with the precision of a maestro. With every clue, every cryptic message left at the crime scenes, it became evident that the killer wasn't just committing murders. They were sending a chilling message, a macabre invitation to a deadly game of cat and mouse. Lara Hughes, our protagonist, was not just a detective, she was a beacon of hope in a town shrouded in fear. Born on a cold winter's day in 1980, in the same town she now vowed to protect, Lara's journey into law enforcement was fueled by a personal tragedy. Losing her father, a respected police officer, to a violent crime when she was just 10, Lara's path was set in stone, a path of relentless pursuit of justice. Standing at 5'7", with piercing blue eyes and an aura of quiet strength, she was a figure both respected and admired in her community. From a young age, Lara exhibited an innate ability to read people, a skill that later became her greatest asset in profiling criminals. Her mother, a schoolteacher, nurtured Lara's inquisitive mind, teaching her that understanding the human psyche was key to understanding the motives behind criminal behavior. Lara's academic journey was marked by excellence. She graduated top of her class in criminal psychology, driven by an unwavering resolve to make her community a safer place. Lara's personal life, however, was a stark contrast to her professional achievements. A series of failed relationships left her deeply introspective, wondering if her dedication to her career was a barrier to finding lasting love. Yet she remained undeterred, finding solace in her quest to bring closure to families torn apart by crime. The small town, with its quaint streets and close-knit community, had never seen anything like the terror that now gripped it. The killer, meticulous and methodical, chose victims that seemingly had no connection, leaving behind a trail of enigmatic clues. Each murder was a sinister echo of a past serial killer, a morbid homage that sent shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned investigators. Lara's task was not just to catch a killer, but to unravel a mystery that delved deep into the annals of criminal history. As the investigation progressed, Lara discovered a web of secrets that lay hidden beneath the town's serene facade. It became clear that the killer was not just an outsider. They were someone who knew the town and its people intimately. With each passing day, the pressure mounted, and the stakes grew higher. The killer was not only challenging Lara's expertise, but also her resolve to protect her town from the clutches of a predator. The copycat game was more than a series of murders. It was a psychological battle, a test of wits between Lara and a killer who seemed always one step ahead. As Lara delved deeper into the investigation, she began to piece together the killer's twisted logic. Each murder was a clue, leading to the next intended victim. The race against time was on to decipher the pattern, to predict the next move, and to stop the killer before another life was lost. In a town where everyone knew each other, trust became a rare commodity. Paranoia and suspicion seeped into the community, turning neighbor against neighbor. Lara found herself not just fighting a killer, but also battling the growing sense of distrust and fear that threatened to tear the town apart. The question that haunted her every waking moment: could she identify the next victim before it was too late? As the investigation unfolded, Lara's resolve was tested like never before. With each new clue, each haunting crime scene, the killer seemed to be sending a personal message to her, taunting her, testing her. But Lara Hughes was not one to back down. She knew that in this deadly game of cat and mouse, only one could emerge victorious. And she was determined to ensure that justice, not terror, had the final say. In the heart of this small town, a game of life and death was being played, a game where the rules were defined by a deranged mind, and the only way to win was to end the game itself. For Detective Lara Hughes, this was not just another case. It was a personal crusade, a journey into the darkness to bring light back to her beloved town. The copycat game had begun, and Lara Hughes was ready to play. In the wake of the chilling murders, the small town was shrouded in a thick blanket of dread and uncertainty. At the heart of this escalating nightmare was Detective Lara Hughes, who faced not just a battle against a cunning killer, but also a race against time. The police station, usually a hub of routine activities, had transformed into a nerve center of frenzied investigation efforts. The first critical lead came from Violet, Salma's friend and the last known person to have seen her alive. Under the bright glare of the interrogation room lights, Violet recounted the fateful evening. Her voice, tinged with despair, painted a vivid picture of their last goodbye in the parking lot, a scene now etched in her memory with painful clarity. The details she provided were crucial, yet they led to more questions than answers. Kevin, Salma's ex-fiancé and the person of interest, was next to be questioned. His account of the events, delivered with a mix of indifference and thinly veiled agitation, did little to dispel the growing suspicions. He claimed a brief, uneventful encounter with Salma in the parking lot, but his eyes, darting and evasive, told a different story. The detectives, skilled in deciphering the language of the unspoken, sensed a wall of deception. Yet, with less than 24 hours since Salma's disappearance and no concrete evidence, their hands were tied. The town transformed into a canvas of search efforts. Flyers bearing Salma's image adorned every street corner, lamppost, and storefront. Social media, a digital echo chamber, amplified the search, with posts and shares reaching far beyond the town's borders. The description of Salma, a petite brunette with distinctive tattoos and a crescent moon scar, became a beacon for potential leads. Then, on June 7th, the case took a gruesome turn. A disfigured, decomposed body was discovered on the banks of a remote canal. The horror of the scene was indescribable. Hands severed, skin flayed, face mutilated beyond recognition. The meticulous brutality of the act sent shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned officers. This was not just a murder, it was a message, a macabre signature of a mind twisted by darkness. The body's condition posed a monumental challenge for identification. No fingerprints, no dental records, no distinguishing features. The killer had erased them all with chilling precision. The age range and the build hinted at a possibility. Could this be Salma? The thought hung heavily in the air, a specter of dread that no one dared to voice. In a heart-wrenching scene, Salma's mother and sister were called in for identification. The grief and disbelief in their eyes were palpable as they stood before the unrecognizable remains. To them, the idea that this could be Salma, the kind-hearted and sympathetic soul they knew, was unfathomable. But the cruel reality of the situation loomed large. Financial constraints meant the initial DNA examination was conducted by a state lab with outdated equipment, casting a shadow of doubt over the results. Yet the findings were unequivocal. It was Salma. The family's refusal to accept this led to a public fundraising campaign for a second, more advanced DNA test. The community's response was overwhelming, a testament to the bond that held the town together. But the outcome was the same, a confirmation that only deepened the wound. The investigation now focused on Kevin, whose troubled relationship with Salma painted him as the prime suspect. Despite the glaring red flags, he remained free until the body was identified, a delay that could have given him ample time to destroy evidence. When finally apprehended, Kevin's narrative shifted dramatically, weaving a tale of a jealous new boyfriend and a violent altercation. His alibi, corroborated by family and a new girlfriend, seemed almost too convenient, a fabricated shield against the mounting evidence. The van Kevin used that night became a critical piece of evidence. Forensic examination revealed traces of Salma's blood, despite Kevin's claim that it was the result of a nosebleed during the alleged fight. The prosecution pounced on this, linking Kevin's past as a butcher to the precise nature of the mutilations on Salma's body. The defense, however, argued this was mere coincidence, an argument that muddied the waters of the investigation. As the case unfolded, Lara Hughes found herself delving deeper into the psyche of the killer. The precision of the mutilations, the removal of tattoos and birthmarks, pointed to someone with a deep understanding of anatomy. As the investigation into Salma's brutal murder unfolded, the townsfolk's suspicion towards Kevin, her ex-fiancé, intensified. Despite his carefully crafted alibi, the absence of a new boyfriend in Salma's life, as claimed by her family and friends, cast a glaring spotlight on his deceit. Salma, they insisted, was entirely devoted to her studies, her diploma defense consuming all her focus. The mysterious new boyfriend, whom Kevin could scarcely describe, seemed increasingly like a figment of his imagination, a desperate attempt to deflect guilt. The courtroom became the stage for this high-stakes drama, where the evidence, or lack thereof, was painstakingly scrutinized. The prosecution's case, built on circumstantial evidence and forensic findings, clashed with the defense's narrative of innocence and misdirection. In a verdict that sent shockwaves through the community, Kevin was acquitted due to insufficient evidence. His release from the courtroom in August 2019 was met with public outrage and disbelief. Fleeing the city almost immediately after his release, Kevin's disappearance only fueled the flames of suspicion and indignation. The case, though officially unsolved, remained a festering wound in the heart of the community. The residents rallied around the Moans family, their collective grief and anger sparking spontaneous demonstrations. They demanded justice, a reopening of the case against Kevin, whose story crumbled under the weight of scrutiny. The relentless pursuit of truth by Salma's family and their supporters eventually led to a breakthrough. A meticulous second search of Kevin's home revealed a hidden cache in the wall, containing blood-stained clothes and a large kitchen knife, likely the murder weapon. This grisly discovery, coupled with Kevin's sudden reemergence and his audacious lawsuit against the Montes family, reignited the case with a newfound fervor. Kevin, now firmly back in the crosshairs of the investigation, faced renewed scrutiny. His lawsuit, an attempt to turn the tables on the Montes family, painted him as a victim of slander and harassment. However, his credibility was severely undermined by the evidence found in his home. The prosecution moved swiftly, rearresting Kevin and charging him with aggravated murder, motivated by a deep-seated misogyny that was evident in his past behavior towards Salma. The new trial, delayed due to procedural hurdles and the global pandemic, finally commenced in June 2020. This time, the stakes were higher, the evidence more damning. The bloody clothes and knife, along with witness testimonies detailing Kevin's abusive and controlling nature, painted a clear picture of his guilt. The narrative he had spun, of a jealous new boyfriend, crumbled under the overwhelming evidence of his own violent tendencies. Kevin's defense, which hinged on the allegation of planted evidence and a supposed conspiracy against him, failed to sway the court. The absence of any CCTV footage corroborating his version of events further eroded his case. The prosecution meticulously dismantled his alibi, leaving no stone unturned in their quest to deliver justice for Salma. Finally, in May 2023, on the eve of the 4th anniversary of the crime, the court reconvened for the verdict. The evidence, now indisputable, pointed to one conclusion. Kevin was guilty of aggravated murder and desecration of Salma's body. The court, however, found the kidnapping charge unproven, as Salma had voluntarily gone to meet Kevin on that fateful night. The sentence was delivered with a somber finality: 70 years in prison, effectively a life sentence for the 32-year-old Kevin. In addition, he was ordered to pay $45,000 in moral compensation to the Montes family. Salma's mother and sister expressed a bittersweet satisfaction with the verdict. Though justice was served, it could never fill the void left by Salma's tragic and untimely death. Kevin, unrepentant to the end, never admitted his guilt or offered any explanation for his heinous act. His silence left many questions unanswered, but for the town and the Montes family, the verdict brought a sense of closure. They had fought tirelessly for justice, and though the journey was fraught with pain and uncertainty, their resolve never wavered. In the aftermath, the town slowly began to heal, the shadow of the crime lifting gradually. The story of Salma Montes and the relentless pursuit of justice by her family and the community would be remembered as a testament to the enduring power of truth and the unyielding spirit of a small town in the face of unspeakable tragedy.
Thanks for exploring the chilling world of true crime with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button for more mysteries and criminal insights. Stay alert, stay curious, and keep unraveling the mysteries. Until next time, take care.